Welcome to Respawn Aim Fire, episode 210, the kick-ass irreverent gaming podcast from Affable Idiots. I'm Holden DePardo. I'm here with the co-host of the day, just today though, Chad Michael Innes. And we also have two special guests coming from the Free-to-Play podcast. We have Andrew and Brent. How you guys doing today?
I'm vibing.
Yeah, man, I'm just over here chilling, you know, I'm in my chair with this microphone in front of me. You know how it is.
Lamborghini.
I don't know if everyone here
It's all
knows
good
this,
times.
but Brent is the winner of the How Long Are Dogs Pregnant For quiz. 58 to 68 days.
Baby.
If you didn't know that, then you weren't listening to the
Congratulations,
pre-show.
Dude, I've never felt so proud of anything on my life.
You get the trophy for it, too.
I'm proud
Platinum
for
trophy
you,
for
man.
knowing how long dogs are pregnant.
Let's go. Platinum trophy. Wait, where's my glass?
Man, what an accomplishment. That's something you want to have immortalized for all time.
I thought I was going to plat Resident Evil Village. I platted the dog pregnancy competition.
I mean, that's a
Now you
Twitter
gotta get the
bio
plat
mention
for
right
all
there.
the animals.
It's just a clear cup with, like, the placenta of a dog fetus in there. Welcome to
I don't
Respawn
want
Aim
to
Fire, everyone.
I don't want to deal with placentas anymore.
Well, upcoming on the show, we will not be talking about one subject outside of dog placentas, which I hope never comes up ever
We don't
again.
know. We're talking about
We
Resident
also
Evil.
are
Could be dog
not gonna be-
placentas.
Yeah, good point. We're also not going to be talking about kind of a lot of the hoopla about the Epic Apple trial and kind of all the news stories that happened with that. We're going to wait for the trial to end in like 2 weeks, and then we're going to go through all of that at once. But we are talking about this week is that Sony Discord announcement, which is dope, and maybe no more Metroid Prime, maybe? But shocking, I know. But before all that, we have the Resident Evil Village impressions. I have beaten it. It sounds like Andrew and Brent have beaten it.
Yep.
And Chad is a noob.
I've played 1
He
hour.
isn't.
Technically 40
You played
minutes.
the worst. You played the worst part of the game.
He didn't
Well-
stick all the way through it like the rest of us.
There will be
I
no
got too
spoiler
scared.
talk, ladies and gentlemen.
I beat it 30
no
minutes ago.
spoils.
Chad, all I'm saying is
what-
that the game takes 8 hours to beat. A work day is 8 hours. I'm just saying, make your choice.
I did take a 40-minute break
Quit
today
your
to play
job.
Resident Evil, so
So Andrew's a huge Resident Evil fan. Brent sounds like you've not been a huge Resident Evil fan before. I like the series, but wouldn't say I'm like super fan of it. Although that might change now. Chad, I actually don't know your like backstory with Resident Evil. I'm assuming you're a fan. You've been a fan for a while,
feel
haven't
like,
you?
Yes, I feel like I could be called a fan of Resident Evil.
Cool. So I guess let's go around. I want to start with Andrew. What was kind of your like initial first impression of Resident Evil Village?
All right. So first impression, I thought it was really good. I played 7 like when it first came out, and I don't want to say like I've grown up with the series or anything because I've never played the original 3 games, so they mean nothing to me personally. But Resident Evil 4 was like one of the first games I've ever actually been able to play with like my own 2 hands. So I've had that with me like since the beginning of time, and then 5 and 6 happened, and like there's all kinds of opinions going around about those 2. So then 7 came out, and I'm gonna be honest, I was initially on the more skeptic side of like, oh, this is just because of the whole PT hype thing or whatever, because it was first person view. I was one of those guys. But then I still got it the day it came out, and then I played through it, and I absolutely loved it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I was obviously hyped for Village to know that they were going to like continue with like that style of gameplay, you know, with the perspective and all that. I was also extra excited because it was taking more pages out of how Resident Evil 4 did things with its inventory management and the whole currency system. It had its own merchant and stuff like that. So I was pretty hype after being not so hype from 5 and 6. I was like, yes, this is a pretty good return to form because the 2 and 3 make were also things. I've heard mixed things about the 3 make, but I've heard the 2 make was pretty good too. I'd like to go back and play that someday. So I obviously came into Village with high expectations, and I don't want to say that Village exceeded all those expectations. I think there are some things I'm not like super big on, but I came out of it thoroughly satisfied. I liked it the way it handled its backtracking and stuff with the different items that you get, being able to go throughout the village when you get these new items and be like, oh hey, I could fucking use this to go do this thing now. And one of my favorite instances of that was when you get an item that helps you with like drawbridges and stuff. Because I got that item and then I used it to lower a drawbridge, and then that led to a boat, and then I was able to take that boat on over, like down this river, like off the beaten path, and to go into these different like areas that were really just like one room, but it was basically like a puzzle room. And then I would solve that, and I'd get some really valuable treasure to sell for some good money, and it made me feel really good about myself for going through those little puzzle rooms, even if they were nothing super complicated. I enjoyed the story too. Story was nice. I won't say anything about it. I'll just say that it was good. I think, anyways. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm going to stop rambling so like other people can talk about it now.
No, you're totally good. I just to call that boat and the drawbridge, I loved that moment too. It felt really cool to have that level of exploration in a Resident Evil game. That was pretty awesome, and definitely a highlight for me as well. Brent, since you're not a fan of Resident Evil, generally speaking, how much did you hate this game?
Brent, the thing is, so I would have went on record, I probably have, like a month or so ago, saying I hate Resident Evil.
Oh my god.
I played the first one because I wanted to get into it. Andrew's one of my best friends. I wanted to play something that he liked. So I was playing it and I was like, this game sucks. It's like, I'm
Your
sure
father and I are so disappointed in you.
I know your father's disappointed too.
It's one of those.
Both Chad and I are disappointed, yes.
It's one of those things where, like, I'm sure it was really good back in the day. Maybe I would have liked it if that's what I had grown up on. I did not like the fixed camera, like the controls. I'm gonna play it again now, but I did not vibe with it. I turned on the 2 make, and I think I just wasn't in the mood. I had just beat Doom Eternal, and I was like, I'll go back to my backlog, and I played it. I got out of the gas station or something, and I was like, I'm not feeling this at all. So then I bought 3 when it came out. I never played it. So leading up to this, I was not excited. Like, every trailer I saw was one of those, like, oh, it's this gray horror game, and then there was the discourse about the sexy ladies in the game, and I was like, I'm missing out. I don't find them attractive. I don't want to get stepped on by tall lady. So leading into it, I wasn't excited, and then I game share with Dallas, and he got it, so I was like, you know what, I'll try it out, and I fucking loved this game. It was one of those things where, not to spoil it, I was so high on it, and then something in the ending happened, and I was like, I don't know if I like this anymore. And then something else happened after that, and I'm like, I love this game. Like, this game is like...
I had to give it those bravo claps.
And I'll end my tangent in a minute, so Holden can talk. But it's one of those things where I know it's so weird because this is like some of the least Resident Evil, and I'm always the guy of huge Assassin's Creed fan being like, wow, everyone loves the modern day games, and those are the least Assassin's Creed games, and Ubisoft is just making games that aren't Assassin's Creed. So I know how hypocritical it is to say I hate RE and I love Village, but I just like, I'm not traditionally a horror guy, so having this be more action focused rocked for me. And for what I'm hearing, everyone loves 4, and for what I'm hearing, it's like Village. So I'm actually really excited to play it. There was like one section I think we all agree can be considered horror, like in Village, that I really enjoyed, even if it made me shit my pants. So maybe I'll play 7, but yeah, I fucking adored Village.
Actually, I want to hear your impressions of the 40 minutes you played. I'm actually curious, what was the 40 minutes you played?
40 minutes I played was I just got to the first typewriter. So it was right after you explore the little village for the first time. And there's old werewolf guy with the hammy ham going to smush you. Then he doesn't. Mm-hmm. Then typewriter. That's where I got
leaps
to.
from building to building.
Yep. I just got there. I was V-pumped going into this game, as the kids say. I really enjoyed Resident Evil 7 a lot, and I was excited to continue that story. And I played the first 40 minutes, and I was excited by some things, and I was let down by some things. What I'm excited about is that, like, they obviously tailored the first couple of environments to look really amazing and sound really like they're playing with the 3D audio in a lot of these areas as you're exploring, and the shit gushing from the ceiling or like something falling over to the left. And they're really setting the mood and creating a really cool environment with the 3D audio and the ray tracing and the lighting and all of that kind of fun stuff. So I love that they're taking advantage of the new hardware in that way. I was disappointed to see that like mirrors don't do shit. Like, you walk in front of a mirror, and it's just like this cloudy, gross blur, and you don't have a reflection. And I was like, oh, I wonder if I reflect in this cabinet over here. Nope, I don't have a reflection. I have a shadow on the ground, but my body, I can't see me at all.
Well, there's this
man,
whole
I can't
thing where
believe
they
that
don't...
in Village, Ethan is still a vampire.
Right?
Yeah, so there's this whole thing where they won't let anyone see his face for some reason. It's really weird. And no spoilers, but there is one cutscene where they just seem to go out of their way in the most obnoxious way possible to hide his face. And it's so obvious. It's so obvious they're trying to hide it. It's weird. It's really weird. It's the weirdest part of the whole game as far as I'm concerned.
Especially with the discourse I've seen like today on Twitter of everyone finding some render of his face and being like, he's the most boring white male podcaster I've ever seen.
Yeah, I was not...
Are you talking about Ethan or one of us?
I remember playing the demo a couple weeks ago and being really excited about it and even mentioning, like, man, the voice acting on it was really great from the interaction I had, with the old guy and his daughter, or wife, or I don't remember anymore. But like going through the beginning of this is like, man, Ethan is a horrific voice actor, and some of the writing too is just like they choose the most unnatural, weird way stiff way for people to say things. Like when he's comforting his baby, and the baby like starts crying, he's like, there. I knew it was a bad idea for mommy to let you read that book. And I was like, fucking just say it like a normal person. And like passive aggressively call out your wife loud enough so she can hear it. Told you shouldn't have read that book to her. She's crying. It's your fault, babe. Like say that instead.
I hated that whole part. It's like, dude, we get it. Calm down.
Oh, speaking of that book, though, the fucking opening was gorgeous. Dude. I loved it. It reminded me of like the Deathly Hallows story in Harry Potter, and I fucking loved the shit out of that little sequence.
So good.
I want the rest of the game to look like that.
That'd be a really cool art style for a game for sure. I
mean, I still have the same issue that I had with the demo. The demo, I didn't even know you could kill the werewolves. And in this one, they're still like they are straight up bullet sponges. It takes me like 8 or 9 shots to the head to kill one of those things with a pistol. And so I'm like, I don't know if that's just like we want it to seem really hard and scary at first, and then it gets easier when you upgrade weapons or whatever the fuck. But if all of the enemies are like that going forward, and then that's gonna be rough.
Yeah, I'm not good with aim, and the lycans move around faster than zombies typically do in Resident Evil, so it's kind of hard to hit them sometimes, which I get that's what they're going for. It adds to the tension of the moment to like struggle to get your reticule on them to fire, get the headshot. But yeah, I went through so much ammo trying to get rid of these things. But I'll say I spent a lot of money buying ammo. I spent a lot of money buying ammo. A lot of resource crafting.
Some of the later enemies that you run into, like towards the end of the game, gave me less trouble than the Lycans do, with how much they fucking move around and shit. Yeah.
And that just, you thought the Lycans were bullet sponges. Holy crap. Won't say what enemy it is or where it is, but I think you guys will know what I'm talking
about. It's Carmen Sandiego, isn't it? I get to kill Carmen Sandiego.
Who told him?
God damn it!
That's who Mother Miranda is. That's the twist at the end. Yeah, so my impressions, to kind of give my backstory on Resident Evil, the first Resident Evil game I ever played was Resident Evil 7 as well. And
that was the first one you had ever even like attempted? Proud of you.
Not attempted. Resident Evil 4 I attempted back on GameCube a while ago, but I never beat it. I got like halfway through it, and I don't like remember it that much, so I don't really count it. But RE7 was my first kind of full RE game I beat. I liked it a lot. I really liked it, and then I went to RE2 Remake, which I think is the best pure survival horror version of Resident Evil, I think. I like RE2 Remake more than 7. And then 3 was kind of a letdown for me. It wasn't bad, it just was not as good as Resident Evil 2 was. And it didn't have like the police station, it didn't really have anything like iconic about it that I'll remember. And Nemesis was kind of boring because he's just way too scripted.
I think that was what it was supposed to be. Yeah, Nemesis was supposed to be the iconic thing. And then we got Mr. X in Remake, and it's like, oh, you were a better Nemesis.
Yeah, exactly. And then we played Resident Evil 4 last year as a BARF game, Backlog Accomplishments with Respawn and Friends.
Was that last year? Jesus
and
Christ.
I'm pretty sure it was last year. And I liked that game a lot. However, I did not like the controls for it, but I was intrigued by its use of action as a tension builder as opposed to the traditional kind of slowly walking through a hallway and wondering what's going to come down the end of the hallway. So, Brent, actually, I would say there's a lot of rumors from... Basically, there's this guy named Dusk Golem online who predicted and leaked Resident Evil Village like to a T. And he was right about everything he said. He says there's a Resident Evil 4 remake coming.
Let's go.
Yeah, so I feel like I would wait for that.
Or play in VR.
Playing the current version of it.
No. All right, I'll play.
I'm sure
2
Las
and 3.
Plagas in VR are a lot less scary than the Resident Evil 7 people.
Yeah, probably. So Village, I loved, and I think it's my favorite Resident Evil game.
Whoa.
I really, really liked it a lot. I hear what people are saying, like kind of Shadow was saying about the voice acting. And a lot of people who are upset about the voice acting also aren't liking the story that much. The voice acting from Ethan didn't bother me too much. It didn't like phase me that much. Although when I played Resident Evil 7 again over the weekend, I kind of realized, like it is better in 7 than it is now. But it never bothered me through my playthrough. But I think what I liked about the story so much was how it escalates throughout. I like the village and the world and the different people who occupy the village. I loved all of that. I really, really liked that part of it. It was mysterious. It was very reminiscent of Resident Evil 4, but it felt like an improvement in a lot of ways for me. But also the big highlight for me is the exploration. The exploration was awesome. I loved going through every corner of every location to find everything, and the rewards for it are so strong. Like, you can deck out your guns. You can buy so much ammo just by finding all the stuff around the world, selling it off. It's really, really cool. And I liked how whenever you beat a main area, the village kind of acts like a hub. And whenever you beat some part of the game, you can go back and there's something new in the village that you can do now. Like kind of what Andrew was kind of saying. Or if you even go back to parts of the village you've already been to before, well, now there's a monster that wasn't there before. And if you kill monster, you know what I'm talking about, you get you get something really great to sell. And it's just, it constantly felt rewarding throughout. And I couldn't stop playing it. I beat it in one day. The only reasons I took breaks was to eat and take care of my bodily needs. That's it. Like, I played this game straight through, and I'm really glad I did.
I didn't stop even for that.
I just JO'd through a horse
I gotta
sequence.
be
That's
honest. That's why I felt almost I still like loved playing through the game and stuff, but I still felt a sense of relief after it was over because I needed to go to the bathroom.
You got to like see that tension building throughout, and like I was kind of telling Brent beforehand, it starts off as more survival horror-ish, and then, well, except for the opening scene that Chad's already played, that is straight up bananas, like super intense. And then it kind of goes back to survival horror again, and then by the end of it, it's like Call of Duty. It's insanely intense by the end of the game, and it's really cool to see that ramp up happen. I really, really liked it, and I can't wait to go back and play it again. I've already gone through on a second playthrough and beat the castle again.
Sick.
And I made sure to go to every room, make sure every room is blue, because I found everything in the room. So every room, all over the castle, totally found everything. So satisfying.
So you're
There's
telling me
so many secrets.
in 3 days you've beat Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 8, and then started Resident Evil 8 again?
I got halfway through Resident Evil 7. I got to like the Lucas part, and then there's something I couldn't remember how to do, and I'm like, I get it. It's survival horror. I remember this now, and I kind of stopped playing. I just kind of wanted to refamiliarize myself with it to get a kind of better comparison for how it is with RE8, and also just there's a lot of that. Spoilers. There's a lot of things that tie back into Resident Evil 7, and I kind of wanted to see how those things tied back in.
Yeah,
But I really liked it.
I was playing the third area, I guess I'll say, and I had this thought, and it's probably wrong, but it felt to me the game wasn't horror, but it was. It's weird to say, but it felt like survival horror, as in like, I don't know, the horror was in surviving, rather than the normal RE description of it's a survival horror game. Like, I genuinely felt like the horror was, like, I was surviving this stuff rather than being scared, and surviving things.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a weird thought. It's hard to explain, but there's a part where you're, like, zip lining and something, like, just happens, and I'm like, okay, that solidified that. Are we able...
That was a cool moment.
It is so cool. Are we going to spoil, like, the structure of the game, or are we keeping all that, like...
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Not like story, but just like how the game is like
Don't do
split
it.
up.
Don't do
I
it.
don't care. Don't do it.
I mean, the structure is very similar, I think, to the structure of RE7, just with more action.
Don't do it. Don't do it. If you
Take
even
your
say the name of the
headphones off.
game again, I'm going to throw up.
Village?
Resident Evil Village.
Oh, joke's on you. You don't know the secret subtitle.
Resident Evil 7.1 Village?
No. Lost.
I heard that was a rumor. Is that supposed to be true or something? That's supposed to be 7.1?
I don't know, Brent. I don't work
it's
for
supposed to be.
Capcom.
How many points are there going to go for if that's true?
That'd be so funny.
We're going all the way to 0.9, baby.
Woo!
2030 Resident Evil 8.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Chad for you to get through it and finally get a chance to beat it, so we can like really go in depth and talk about it.
Yeah, we need a spoiler chat. I have to
Yeah,
talk about
I
it.
100%.
imagine it's not that long of a game, right? So I imagine I'll probably be able to beat it by this weekend.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
my wrap up said 7 minutes and 1 second. My PlayStation says 11 hours, and maybe I was idle for 1. So I don't know what the disconnect there was, but
At the end, it should tell you how long it took you to beat the game.
yeah, it says
Yeah,
7.
it does.
7 hours and 1 second, but my PlayStation says 11 hours. So
I wonder if maybe
Oh,
it doesn't
I see
count
what you're
like
saying, I see
timing
what
your
you're saying, yeah.
menus or stuff like that.
that's possible.
That would make sense because mine said 10 hours, like 10 and a half hours, something like that. But I spent way more time than that playing that game on the first day.
Yeah, that clock, I think it doesn't take into effect menus because that clock, they use it for like unlockables and stuff like that in other games where if you beat it in under X amount of hours, you get a piano key scarf that gives you infinite ammo. And so,
Chad,
and
you are
your menus-
spoiling how the systems of this game work.
Okay,
and
first of all, I'm talking about Resident Evil 4.
Now you're spoiling Resident Evil 4.
You're
What the
welcome,
heck?
America.
Well, cool. We will return to talking about this once Chad has beaten it. We'll have a full-on spoiler chat. But that's not the only things that we have played this week. Andrew, what have you been playing this week?
All right, so I've been playing a couple things other than Village, surprisingly. One of the one of the other things that I was playing before I got the opportunity to play Village was Stardew Valley. I recently got back into that game, which is basically Harvest Moon but better.
And a little bit of Resident Evil 7 in there too.
Right?
Let's Stardew Village.
Oh,
It's the sequel.
Completely different game. Drastically different tones.
Grow your crops, defend them against lichens.
Make sure you close those chicken coops at night, otherwise they'll come eat them all.
Yeah. Kill your chickens, sell it to increase your health.
But yeah, Stardew Valley, there's not too much to say about it. It's just a fun farm sim game. You know, you got the 4 seasons being condensed into just 4 months, because that's how time works. And then you grow crops, you mine stuff, you fish, all that good stuff, all for the grand old purpose of making as much money as humanly possible. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just a farm sim game. It's good. I like it. And then the other thing that I was playing, which I don't know how much I'll say about it because I don't know if Brent will mention this either, but we kind of fell off of it a little bit. For me, mainly in preparation for Village, but Brent, his brother, and I have all been playing Terraria together.
let's go, baby.
I'm glad you found
Yeah.
somebody to play with, Brent.
I begged them nonstop.
I tried,
They're the
and then
only
we
ones
haven't
who
gone back.
will. But yeah, we've all been playing Terraria. We kind of fell off of it a little while ago, but we might get back into it soon enough because we've all been playing through it with the intention to actually beat it. You know, going on the road all the way to Moonlord and stuff. Because I don't think any of us have ever gotten that far. I don't know about his brother.
Yeah,
but,
Dylan did it on PlayStation.
Okay, that was Okram though, right? Because that's the final boss on console.
No, Moonlord's on console right now. You guys do not care about this.
I'm shocked to learn that there are different versions depending on what platform you're playing on.
Dude, you have,
Oh yeah,
the 3DS version is insane.
you have no idea.
You have
That
no
should have been
clue.
my 3DS game of the week.
Dude. I'm so glad that section's gone.
Oh. Well, now that you said that, I'm gonna bring it back.
God damn it.
I hope you
No,
realize that.
I'm getting a
I
Vita,
hope
so
you
I'm
realize
just
the Pandora's box you have just opened.
I'm getting a Vita, so I'm just replacing it with Red's Vita section of the week.
Oh, you fucking wish, man. We're gonna do them both. I'm a co-host, alright? I have sway over this, too.
How's
But
Terraria
yeah, we've
going?
been playing Terraria. It's been a lot of fun. There's a lot of bosses to fight and stuff, so it's nice. I'm hoping to get back into it soon enough so we can actually get the rest of the way through it and beat the Moonlord, you know, get that accomplishment done. It's kind of sporadic, but my friend and other host over here, Brent, the guy that I'm pointing at right now, I don't know if I'll actually be next to him, but Brent sometimes will live stream our progress on beating the Moonlord for
Where can people see
documentation
that?
purposes.
Actually, thanks for asking. That was twitch.tv/porkchop118YT. Thank you.
You're welcome. It'll
So,
be in
yeah,
the description too.
That's something anyone may be interested in watching, which maybe not, because there's not too much talking or anything. It's a lot of grindy stuff because it's a grindy kind of game.
I love watching videos of people
But-
grinding.
Get the gains, bro. You see these like muscles I've been getting recently?
Whoa, Brent! My little boy's getting so strong.
Just don't look at my stomach.
Does it also have a bicep?
Dude, it's got too many.
It's got 15. It's become a serious problem. Please, someone send help.
Yeah, please. I think I'm growing something.
Matt from Rhode Island in the
These
chat
might
says
be
you are
tumors.
jacked.
Dude, thanks,
Right?
man. I appreciate that. I've been working really hard on it. Actually, I'm not. My brother tries to get me to go to the gym like every day. I'm like, nah.
So yeah, that's it for me. That's the things that I've been playing.
I have not been playing too much. I played a lot of Returnal, which I'll probably just let Chad talk about it and Holden and just echo what they say. Fantastic game. I don't know if I'm done with it per se, but I finally beat the first boss after everyone either beat the game or has been on like the 5th biome or something. So I got to the 2nd biome. I've done a few runs after that and got to the 2nd biome, and then I reached a point where I'm like, I'm content. I'm probably still going to play it, but I reached that point where like, I've seen enough. I love this game. I just don't know if I want to beat it at this point. I don't know if it's something I want to sit through, but I adore this game, and I will be talking about it later towards the end of this episode, but I really adore Returnal. I think it's awesome. It was overshadowed as my favorite game this year by Village, but I think it's fantastic. And what else did I play? I forgot. I played a little bit of Enter the Gungeon. I'm not going to say too much about it because I didn't play it much, but dude, roguelikes are my jam.
Ooh.
I'm glad we've discovered a new genre for you.
I'd always liked them because Risk of Rain 2 is like one of my favorite games. Don't care if I overuse that. I love Risk of Rain 2 to death. That game's awesome. And I had like dabbled with some other roguelikes in the past, like Rogue Legacy was awesome. So I finally started to play this, and it's a blast. I'm looking forward to playing more of it. And then Injustice 2, I've been getting back into. I want that platinum, but I'm so tired of that stupid Catwoman trophy. You have to. There's a few trophies where you have to like beat someone, and the final move is a certain move. Catwoman's is so dumb because this move is locked behind a loot box.
Oh, fuck I hate that.
Oh.
It's an RNG trophy, and I hate it so much. So I'm leveling up my Batman more because I was always really good as him. Excuse me. And just going through, knocking out some trophies, but I don't know if I'm going to commit to the platinum, but I've been having fun with it again. I'm so gassy. I ate pizza earlier. I'm probably one of the 3 people that played Hood, Outlaws, and Legends.
They have literally one multiplayer server
I
up.
saw that on the show notes, and I twisted my head. I was like, what is that?
I know. I was like, I saw it coming out, and I had it on the fantasy draft, and I was just like, oh yeah, this game's coming out. And I had money burning a hole in my pocket, as it usually does. I picked it up, and I loved the first like intro mission you do. I've not played a multiplayer match yet. Me and Dallas are gonna play some tomorrow. But yeah, it's a 4-player PvPvE or a PvEVP. So the main objective is you are from what I get at, it's heist. So it's 2 teams of outlaws that are going to try to steal the treasure inside the castle. Obviously, steal from the rich, give to the poor. Robin Hood type thing. But I think it's the 2 teams of outlaws competing to get to the treasure to bring it back. And then along the way, obviously, you have guards and you have stuff like that. And you have 4 heroes that all work together and have their different skills. So you have Robin, who's the archer, obviously. And then you have a girl who's 100% unabashedly an assassin. She has a hidden blade, but on the right side of her arm with a crossbow, which is just like the Phantom Blade from Unity, which this game is completely... Like I was saying, this is what I really loved about the heist multiplayer in Assassin's Creed Unity. So this is already kind of ripping off the multiplayer in Assassin's Creed Unity. And then you have the Phantom Blade that he uses. And then you just have like a big tank
basically
going.
this game is just Assassin's Creed.
Yes, but it's cool.
And Assassin's Creed is
cool.
not?
I didn't say that.
Brent.
But yeah, I'm like one of 3 people talking positively about this game, but I think it's cool. I'm looking forward to getting some matches with Dallas and someone else tomorrow. So yeah, I'm hyped about that. And that's about it. Played Village. Surprised we didn't talk about it more because I have so many things to say about Village.
You just can't spoil anything. That's the thing.
Yeah, because someone didn't finish it.
Yeah, come
I'm
on.
sorry. I'm sorry. Simon Birch. I'm sorry. That was a 90s movies, boys.
Oh yeah, I wasn't alive.
I wouldn't know it then. I was born at the tail end of that.
I'm basically dead.
Yeah,
Basically.
honestly. Did you know I graduated high school 2 years ago? It's about to be 3, actually.
I just feel bad because as your father, I missed your graduation. I just didn't make it.
COVID, man. COVID.
Yeah.
I knew it was coming. I didn't want to go out.
COVID, like fucking 2 years ago.
I kept looking in the stands and I was like, Dad missed again. Write it down on the sheet.
Oh no!
Tally it up.
You have a spreadsheet tracking your dad's appearances.
It's color coded.
You weren't there either. I don't know why you're laughing.
I told you, COVID, man. Don't you care about my safety and health?
Not really. Not that
Don't you care about my accomplishments in life?
Dude, I was wearing Converse to my graduation. Like, you didn't want to be hyped for that?
This is going on so much longer than I thought. No, we've made amends. We're back to being a good father and son.
Bet.
You also played Injustice 2, it looks like?
Yeah, I
talked
said
about
that.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. I blanked on that.
I just zoned out.
I don't blame you.
Just a terrible father. I'm not even here for the conversations I'm present in.
Just like my real dad. I'm just kidding, Dad. I love you.
I love you too, son.
Well, let's Returnal back into our gameplays.
Oh, I see what you did there. I talked about
Yeah.
Returnal last week and how it's my game of the year so far this year, even though I know Horizon and God of War are going to blow it out of the water. But I am still in love with this game. I thought about it all weekend long, even when I was on vacation all weekend, out with my best friend having fun, but so I couldn't play games. But I thought about Returnal a lot. And I have started to see a little bit of something that annoys me with Returnal, and that is it's split into 2 acts, and as you get towards the end of each act, it's way too long. For being a roguelike where you're supposed to die and retry, and especially with so much of this game being about random chance and what parasites you get and what artifacts you unlock, it is such a commitment to go from a run all the way from the first biome all the way to the end of the 3rd biome to get to the boss and not have the right parasites and die. And then you have to go all the way back. And there are shortcuts there, but if you take the shortcuts from 1 to 3, then you don't get all the materials and the parasites and artifacts that you need in order to fight the boss. And it's like, that got annoying to the point where I was trying to beat the boss of Biome 3 3 days in a row. And I straight up told myself, if you don't beat this today, you're deleting the game. I love it. But I didn't like what it turned me into after I lost every time. I was literally every single time.
I became something unrecognizable.
I did. Every single
Husk of a
time,
man.
I would shout obscenities. I would smash my controller against the bed. I would get up, walk around, go on my phone, take a pee, and come back and try it again. But it was I was furious every single time. I fucking hate this game. And then I immediately jumped back in. I was like, God, I love this game. So I didn't like what it was turning me into. But I did finally beat the 3rd biome, got into the 4th one.
Let's go.
And I haven't been able to play since I got to the 4th biome yet. So very much looking forward to doing that as soon as I speed through Resident Evil Village. Holden, though,
So
you
I
played
played
this thing
Returnal.
for the first time. I'm so glad you got it. I'm so fucking glad you got it.
We were like begging him so hard to get this game. He's like, Village.
I've never
He's like,
felt
"Oh,
more
school,
pressured to get a
oh."
game. I've never been this pressured to get a game before, and I knew that you guys would only pressure me if it was justified. I don't think you'd have pressured me into like, cooking mama or something like that.
We totally Mr. Roboted you. Like,
Yeah, dude,
you pushing
you
us
did,
to watch
yeah.
Mr. Robot was us pushing you to play Returnal.
Well, I specifically pushed you, Chad, to watch Mr. Robot. I haven't
And you
done that to
got
anyone
Dallas
else.
watching it, and you're trying to
You-
guilt
you
Matt
kept
into picking it
forcing-
back up again.
You kept forcing me to watch it.
Yeah,
No, we
No, it's not true.
we were all on party chat, and like, I think one of the first things most of us said was like, "Dude, Holden would love this game. I have no clue why he's not playing it."
No, the only reason I didn't want to get it initially is like RE Village is coming out, then Mass Effect is coming out shortly after that, and I thought Mass Effect was coming out at the end of the month for some reason, but it's like in a few days now. So like I'm just not gonna have time to play this, and I'd rather play Mass Effect and RE Village right now. But you guys twisted my arm, and I'm glad you did because it's really, really fucking good. I really, really like it. I do echo a lot of the sentiments that Chad said though of like it would kind of and Brent as well like. Because of how long these runs are, it's a really tough game to commit to.
But I mean,
If they had just-
you're like, hey guys, I'm starting Returnal. 30 minutes later, hey guys, I just beat all 5 of the first bosses.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck you, man. I've been bashing my
No,
controller against the bed for 3 days.
I woke up to so many
yeah.
texts from the chat, and then like 3 videos in the PlayStation chat of like Holden just like beat the first boss, check the Twitter, you're all on there. And it's like, dude, did you not sleep?
Okay, but the second act, it's so much harder. The second act is insanely difficult in comparison. I'm having a really hard time with the second act right now. But okay, so I do want to talk about the boss situation you guys just mentioned, because I will say that was one of the most satisfying gaming experiences I've ever had. Like, period. It was amazing. So basically what happened is I was having a hard time getting through the first biome. It was kind of difficult at first. Oh, wait, before I get to that, I just told myself I'm going to play for like, take a break. I'll play for like an hour or two maybe, and then I played it nonstop for 11 hours straight. Like, I could not stop playing this game, and a big reason of that is where I'm leading to the story. So I kind of struggled to get past the first biome because I was just kind of getting used to the game. I'm not great at shooters in general. Anyone who's on a game night with me knows that I'm not great at shooters, and I'm usually being carried by Dallas in like Warzone, for example. But I eventually beat the first boss, and when I get to the second biome, I'm like, this game is destroying me. I could not get past the second biome. It seemed like such a huge step up in difficulty from the first biome. And then what else kept happening is I would get a really crappy loadout in the first biome and not even be able to make it to the second biome. Because I don't want to just go directly to the second biome. I wanted to explore as much as possible in the first biome, get good perks, get good weapons, and then go in with like a higher weapon proficiency. But I just kept getting absolutely wrecked early on in the second biome. And I'm like, there's just no way that I'm going to beat this game. There's no way. And then I happened to get a few perks that are really useful. One is I got a carbine that had a very, very fast fire rate. So that is a game changer. Getting a carbine with a high fire rate, because you can just decimate enemies so fucking fast when you get that. But I got 2 perks. I can't remember if they're the same perk related, if they're 2 separate perks. But I had one perk that would bring me back to 25% integrity or health once I got low enough, but I also got a shield at the same time. So basically, in that time where it was going back up to 25% again, I couldn't get hurt anymore. So I kind of kept riding that until I got to the boss of the second biome. It was so stressful. I went through that biome so carefully because I'm like, this is an amazing loadout. Don't lose it, Holden. Like, just play carefully. Don't do too much too fast. And I got to the second boss with half health. And I'm like, well, I mean, there's only one thing to do now, and that's fight the boss. Like, I really can't, like, turn back. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it. First try, killed him. Oh, that was so satisfying. And that was kind of my high point of, like, I love this game. I'm like, but I should go to bed. I'm like, but I can't stop. I can't stop right now. So then I'm like, all right, we're going to the third biome. What's the third biome like? I'll get a chance to see it because I probably won't get to it again ever. And knowing what Chad's experience was of like beating your head against the wall with that third boss, and I'm like, there's, even if I make it to that, Like, I'm not making it farther. Like, I'm going to get destroyed in this. But then I got a recollector, and then I got an astronaut figure, so I was able to kind of recover, like, twice and kind of get back into the game again. And then I got to the third boss, all in one run. I got through the whole third biome my first run. I get to that boss, terrified, absolutely terrified. Maybe it scared me straight, and that's why like I did so well in that fight. But I destroyed in that fight, and then I beat the third biome. And that whole, like... so there's like this high you get in Dark Souls where you beat that boss after a long time, but this was like experiencing that constantly for like 2 hours as I went through that third biome and beat that boss. It was just unbelievable. It was such a great experience to have, and I'm really, really glad I had it. But now that I'm in the fourth biome and I've made it to the fifth biome, the difficulty ratcheted up, whatever the term is. Yeah, it ramped up, and I think I might have to step away from the game for a while because it's way too intense. There's way too much happening, and I just don't think I am skilled enough to get to the end of the game. It totally makes sense to me that Dallas could do it because Dallas is an absolute beast when it comes to anything shooter related.
Dallas did that same damn thing. Dallas is like, hey y'all, what's up? I'm just gonna go through biome 2 and 3 and beat them all on my first try, blah, 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 and then get all the way through. And I feel like it's all about the parasites you have. You mentioned the parasite that repairs you automatically
100%.
at low health, and
yeah,
that's the only reason why I beat the second and third biomes bosses whenever I did was that parasite. But it's, I'm just gonna chalk it up to you both having really lucky runs and not me being a shitty gamer.
I mean,
that's what I'm
No,
gonna
I'll
say.
say that it's 100% is it. It's 100% that. I would never say that I'm so skilled at shooters that's why I made it through. With Dallas, I can say that because he's really good. Me, definitely not. Definitely. Basically, what happened is, like, Dallas and I are like Dallas is shooters, and I'm like Mario Kart, right? And it's like being in Mario Kart and then getting red shells constantly throughout the entire race, and that's why you win. Like, that's what it's kind of like to get good perks in Returnal. It makes a huge difference, and that is kind of what keeps me away from it. Honestly, because the whole weekend, I'll get to in a second all the other games I played. The whole weekend, I'm like, I don't know if I want to go back to it because I don't want to deal with getting another run with really shitty stuff and not being able to make it through. It's like I really, really love this game. I love it, but I can't like continue with it. And I do feel like usually I kind of roll my eyes at this whole like they need to make the game easier. And I'm not saying make the game easier. I think its difficulty is exactly what the developers want it to be. That's what it should be. But the save, they really should have a save. That would take a lot of the stress out of it. Because now if I think it can be like a 4-hour run sometimes to get to the end of one of these acts. That's just too damn long for one sitting for a lot of people. And you have to do it.
And the only way to pause is rest mode. So if you want to play a different game with somebody, or if, God forbid, a patch comes out in the middle of it and updates the game and you lose all your run, or the fucking power goes out like it did for me, yeah, you lose it all.
Yeah. It's a problem. It is. Like I had a really, really good run. I was in the 5th biome, and I'm like, I'm fucking destroying it. This might be the time I can beat the 5th biome. But game night starts in 10 minutes.
Yep.
And I'm like, I have to lose it. And it was shitty that I'm like, this isn't any fault of my own. A save is very understandable. Now, maybe this ties into your conversation, Brent, you were going to bring up later on. I don't know if that's common in roguelike games is not having saves. But it is really frustrating here in this particular case.
Yeah. I'll get into that more. I agree with you saying like going into the weekend like I'm gonna play it because like this weekend I was like Returnal, I'm gonna play it. My like time off work because I get no time on the weekdays. I'm gonna binge Returnal. And I woke up at 9. I think I played until like 12. Got to the second biome. It was fun. And then I was like, I'll try Resident Evil Village. And like I said, never liked Resident Evil games. I started exploring and I'm like, yeah, this is my entire weekend. I don't want to play Returnal anymore. It's a good...
I already know. It's already been sealed. It is written.
Dude, exactly. As soon as I started exploring, I was like, there's no way I'm going back to Returnal. Because I kept putting it in my mind where I'm like, I have to beat this. But I'm honestly like, I'm at the point where I'm content. I don't have a lot of free time to play on games, and there are games coming out. I'm about to play Mass Effect for the first time.
So proud of you.
Thanks, man. So is Dallas.
It's gonna be great. I'm so excited for you to play it.
Yeah, so now I just I don't have time for Returnal, and I love it. Love roguelikes. It's one of those things. I don't know if I want a save feature just because I do like that challenge, but at the same time it's it's after everything it's just gone. I feel like I was doing really good every time I get to the second biome. I get to the farther out where you get into the tombs and everything.
Yeah, and I feel like the difference between this conversation of adding a save mode in Returnal and the adding an easy mode to Dark Souls is that there's a practicality to having a save in a game. That's just practical. That's not, hey developer, can you please change your grand vision for this game because I want to play it? It's more, hey, this is a fundamental feature of every single game that has ever existed from The Legend of Zelda back on the NES and on, basically. Exceptions probably in the NES era that I'm not as familiar with, but you get my point. It seems like such a strange omission. It's also a really basic thing to implement in terms of games. I don't think many games struggle with implementing their save system. I'm sure it's pretty much at this point a really cut and dry thing to write into your code. So it's just surprising it's not there.
Yeah, it's a weird conversation. I wouldn't be pissed if they added it. I wouldn't be mad or care at all. But I'm not begging for it. I do like dying and Celine comes back in the first biome and the Returnal aspect of the storyline. I think that's cool. Now I don't know how the act structure is, but I would say maybe put a save point there to where you started Act 2. That's what I would do, but I don't.
That's what they do. They do that.
Oh, okay. Then I think that's fine. But yeah, I don't necessarily know about a save feature, but it's one of those things where, yeah, if it gets added, it's no sweat off my back. I'm not gonna get mad about it or anything, but I do like the vision, and I'll touch more on it later.
We should boycott Housemarque.
Let's burn them to the ground.
No, that's too far. We got to boycott them. If we burn them to the ground, they
can't
implement the save
them
feature
to make
for
games
us.
they didn't make.
I think so. Yeah, I think a big reason that Returnal is gotten so much the attention it's getting too is that it's kind of one of the first original next gen experiences. It feels weird saying next gen because we're months at this point into the current generation now, but it's the first original game to really take advantage of the new hardware.
Yeah.
Demon's Souls is great, but it doesn't fully count because it is exactly the same thing as the original Demon's Souls. It just looks pretty. This is an experience I don't think could have been possible on a PS4 because of it must utilize that SSD very heavily to generate these rooms as quickly as it does, especially when you're going right from death to back in the game again. Mm-hmm. That speed and all that is very integral to the experience. And that I can't imagine playing this game and then waiting a minute and a half to 2 minutes for it to regenerate everything. I just can't fathom that. So I feel like it's the first kind of true, PS5 game.
Plus those haptics and the triggers, man.
Yeah.
Just the left trigger, the alt fire versus the aiming by how far you press it. It's just it's so. It feels like it's going to be something you hate and that you're not going to be able to get used to. And then after 10 seconds, you're just like, oh, this is brilliant. It's an extra use of the trigger without needing an extra button.
Ratchet & Clank does it as well, and I'm really excited to see how they implement that further with different types of guns and all that kind of stuff. And in Returnal, there's also the raindrops inside the controller, which is just really cool. It adds to the atmosphere a lot. It's a great experience. It really is great. It's good stuff. Mm-hmm. I also played a lot this weekend because, I don't know. I beat Resident Evil Village, and I just got excited about beating a game. I don't know why, but that got me excited. And I decided I was going to knock out a lot of my backlog games that I've been wanting to finish. Like, I had started a little bit and hadn't finished yet. So I finished the last world that I hadn't beaten in Sackboy: A Big Adventure. I'm not going to go in depth on all these games. Sackboy is great. I think that's probably one of the most underrated games of last year. I feel like it got zero attention, and it's a fantastic platformer that's super fun to play with friends. Chad and I've been playing with the boys at Nerds at Large, Jeff and Darby, and that's been a lot of fun.
I want to play it so bad.
It's
Do it,
good. It's a
coward.
good time.
I want to.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't know it existed until I saw it on the notes. So you're right about the fact that it got no attention.
Speaking of games that got no attention whatsoever, no one's heard of Fez before, but Fez, I beat that. Lots of people have heard of Fez. Fez is a really good game, and it's funny that I didn't beat this because I only played it for 15 minutes. That's how close I was to the end of the game when I stopped playing it before. So I literally am like, oh, I'm going to spend like a few hours beating Fez, and then I already had 32 cubes. I went to the final area. I did little like anti-gravity jumping up to the top, and then it was over. I'm like, oh, I should have done that a long time ago. What a cool ending, though. Great game. I finally beat Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. Also an underrated game. And
For real.
I'm sorry, but people have said the game's $40. That's just too much for the content that it offers. Nope, you're fucking liars, because that game has an insane amount of content. So much in that game, and a lot of that's because there's new Switch content too, but that's totally worth $40. I would say that's still worth $60. So I'm taking the opposite approach to everyone else. It's great. It's a great game.
It's awesome. I love that game.
Yeah, it's charming. It's actually difficult. It gets really hard, surprisingly. And then last but not least, definitely not least, I played A Plague Tale: Innocence. I started a new game in my backlog to beat. I have not beaten it. I'm 6 chapters in, and I absolutely adore A Plague Tale: Innocence. This is a game that I do feel like did not get enough attention because it's so far, without a doubt, up there among like really great video game storytelling.
Yup.
It is.
Yup.
It's and it's crazy too because it's a AA game. So you usually hear like AA game and you think like, oh, it's not gonna have like the emotional heart that you would see in like The Last of Us. Like, no, it really is up there though. Like with the relationship between Amicia, is that her name? Amicia, and her brother Hugo. I don't want to like spoil too much about the plot of the story because I think it's really good to see that plot play out, and it starts playing out immediately. It's a surprisingly intense game from what I thought going into it, but it's fantastic. There was one part I want to call out in particular where it takes place during the bubonic plague in the 1300s, and which means rats are really prominent, but there's also just a lot of war going on. And there's one part where you come to a battlefield and there are just dead bodies everywhere. As literally as far as you can see is the battlefield with just dead bodies everywhere. And there's a part where you first get there and you are walking over them and it slows down because the characters are walking in between the bodies to like, they don't want to step into the body. And there's something about that moment that I literally started to tear up.
Yeah.
I'm like, it just
I'm getting
hit
goosebumps
me
right now just
so
remembering
hard.
it. That part in particular,
Yeah.
I remember thinking there are hundreds of video games that have been running over dead people's bodies without thinking twice. But something about this game, it just really fucking affected me. I was like, oh my God, this is incredible.
Yeah. It's truly so far a fantastic experience. I cannot wait to finish this game and kind of see where the story goes. I highly recommend that game. Is it pretty much everywhere, right? It's on Xbox, it's on PC.
I played it on Game Pass, so it's definitely over on Xbox. I don't know if it's still on Game Pass, but yeah.
It was last time.
Really fantastic game. I absolutely am loving it so far.
I might
good stuff.
Go back and beat it.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, I think you're probably farther than I was though. How far did you get? Because I'm still pretty early on.
I honestly don't remember. I have to play it again.
It's worth restarting. When I first played it, I got 3 chapters in. I don't know why I stopped. You know how gamers can be sometimes. We'll just be like, this is an amazing experience. I guess I'll never play it again. Gotta play something else.
I can't wait to get back to it 2 years from now.
Right.
And then
exactly.
get all the controls.
Yeah. But I did do that with Plague Tale Innocence, and I'm glad I did. And watch it. Next week, I won't even bring it up because I stopped playing. No, that's not gonna happen. I'm gonna beat it for
Played
sure.
Village again.
I will play Village again. I want to beat Plague Tale before Mass Effect comes out because I am just so excited to play Mass Effect again. But we'll talk about that next week. All right. We went to the quest log. We have a handful of stories this week. One of the big ones in our Sony quest log here, Sony and Discord are partnering to integrate their services on PlayStation, says Eric Van Allen at Destructoid. Right now, the details are very vague, but we do know that Sony has invested money in Discord and that over the remainder of 2021, both will be working together to integrate Discord directly into PlayStation. So not like an app, but like a part of the operating system. They'll be working together for a richer, quote, social and gaming experience on console and on mobile. These features will be available at the beginning of next year. So we don't know much, but I mean, we can kind of imagine. We know what Discord is. What do you guys think about this?
I have problem believing it's going to be anything cool. But I hope. I mean, I didn't assume they were building it into the UI. I guess maybe I didn't fully read the article. If they are, that's awesome. I would just assume, though, that it'd be something like... Because we all want to dream that it's replacing, like, the party chat. And I don't see Sony doing that. I can see them being like, hey, nobody likes what we did with party chat. What do we do? And then maybe they went and fixed it. I can't see them replacing their proprietary thing with Discord, but I can see Discord like helping a little bit, like figuring out making it like a Discord Lite. That would be cool. I don't know how it would work with all the channel tabs and the voice like tabs and having to do that with a controller. But if they actually put like the essence of Discord on there, that'd be awesome. That'd be perfect for crossplay, for everything. It just sucks as much as I'm a PlayStation guy. I want that on Xbox too. Like Discord should work on like any console at this point. If you're gonna do it for PlayStation, like what's the point at this point if it's only on one console? That's the only thing. It's like it's cool because I own a PlayStation, but it's good for crossplay, I guess, if you're on PC, but if someone's on Xbox, then the Xbox person is still doing the multiple headphones thing. So it's cool. It's just it doesn't solve crossplay because, I mean, hopefully though, because it's a partnership, they can still do it with Xbox. But to be positive, this sounds awesome if they really do like integrate it with PlayStation Network and actually like put the time, make like a little card on the like little dashboard. That could be cool. I really hope they do something like that. Or just replace Game Base. Game Base is not very good.
Yeah, I agree with you. I have a hard time believing that it's going to be like they're just going to put an entire new competing social chat app in the UI alongside the PlayStation 1. And it's also hard to believe that they will replace what's existing there, given all the, I'm sure, the research and development that's gone into time and money that's gone into creating that PlayStation party and chat experience. If it's anything like, I think at bare minimum it's going to be what's already on Xbox and has been for years, where you can just see what your friends are playing. That's basically what you have integration with Discord and Xbox right now. But if it's that, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I don't go on Discord to see what people are playing.
That's all I want. That's all I need, to be completely honest. I sometimes like this is something stupid I like. So sometimes I'll go in and make a custom like status of what I'm doing, and I always have to like delete it or something when I'm done. So
I think part of it is I'm an old man and I don't Discord is not part of my habits or interest or anything like that. We use it to record this podcast. We use it for game nights to chat, for cross-platform things. But I would love for it to become the de facto chat app across all platforms. And I think it's starting to get big enough. You know, they thwarted Microsoft buying them to really like develop their own IP, like open and trade publicly and develop their business. And I would love for that to become, I don't know, maybe it's kind of like cross-platform play, where like you can play Warzone with PC people when you're on PlayStation, and you just have to add them with their Activision ID instead of their PSN ID. And maybe it's just like you can add a Discord user to your PlayStation chat with their Discord ID or something like that. Like, I think that could be a cool, interesting solution. And that's something that I think would be, I'm obviously not an engineer on audio platforms, but might not be too difficult to integrate with both Xbox and PlayStation. But I hope they figure out a way to make it work, because that would make cross-platform play so much easier, especially if you're jumping between games and you don't have to rely on game chat.
Game chat sucks.
Game chat's a fucking joke. It sounds terrible. It never works. Holden always fucks it up somehow because he's playing on the wrong system or something.
That's all Nintendo has.
I disagree with it's not going to be much. I think this is going to be bigger. I think this is going to be, I don't know if it's going to replace the party chat, but I think it's going to become the primary way people do voice chat on PlayStation, to the point where at some point in the future it could completely get rid of party chats as we know it. Sony fucked up party chats on PS5 and on PS4, their most recent update to it. It's really bad. This whole idea of, okay, so here's an example that has happened that's really frustrating. I'll start a party chat we have the RAF game night party chat going, but I'll join it, and then for some reason, Matt and I will already be in there talking, and then Chad has created a new game night party chat and then has invited us to that. And now on my list, I have 4 party chats because this has happened a few times now. It's a really, really shitty implementation to step back. And in terms of money invested in that system, well, maybe they don't want to invest more money to fix it, and that they're better off just working with a company that has already fixed this, and then Sony doesn't have to spend money going forward to fix this. They can just rely on a company who specializes in it, that people want to use, is established, will be integrated with Xbox, will be integrated with PC, so that as crossplay becomes a bigger deal. Well, on Xbox and PC you can do Discord chat with with Call of Duty and chat with your friends that way. That's a better experience. Sony will lose people from that, but they'll gain people by saying, nope, you can have that consistent same experience everywhere. There's a reason that communication platforms, even on smartphones, tend to be consistent and the same across the board. The exception of iMessage, where email is an established protocol that is across all devices. Text messages is an established protocol that's across all devices. You have other services like WhatsApp or Facebook or Messenger, something like that. Well, I guess technically same company, but all that's a common experience across different platforms. Games needs that, and I think Discord is that. So I think it'd be really wise of Sony to say, hey, you want communities back? We don't want to put the money back in to do communities again. But Discord, you can make your own server and do that, and it's a better experience than communities was. I don't think people have a fondness for how PlayStation Messages works to keep them locked into PlayStation.
Yeah, I think I'm just coming at it from the fact that this is Sony. This is a company that is very, famously not really liked to mess with other, companies, other things. Not to get into all of the epic, court things, but there's something that came out that shows that they don't really like doing what people want them to do. So I don't fully buy it, but at the same time, there can be, I do believe maybe there was a conversation nobody likes our party system. People are just playing on Discord. So what if we took this time to fix it? That's always a possibility, because like you said, communities, yeah, a cool idea, but that's Discord. And they didn't want to do it. So if Discord hosted it on PlayStation, then yeah, that could be really cool. And then the parties are them trying to replicate Discord. So maybe they tried to replicate it, failed, and then went to the source. But it is still one of those things, you were talking about, gaming needs one unified platform, and I agree. I just don't think Sony's going to want to be the one to pioneer that. Sony's the one to get pressured into a corner, finally say, fine, give me some money, though. That's the company Sony is.
I think the difference, though, is that the whole crossplay example with Epic, that's because Sony was losing money from that. There is no money in messaging. It's actually a money loser for Sony because they have to maintain that software, keep it up to date. They lose money on that as opposed to gain money from that. So from a business standpoint, it makes sense they would give up messaging to a different company because then they don't have to do anything. That is financially better for Sony. Whereas like Epic and crossplay, well, if someone buys a V-Bucks on iPhone, then they don't spend that money on PlayStation. Sony loses out in that case.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. They're definitely like not the like one-on-one comparison, but it's just one of those with Sony, my favorite gaming company. I love them to death. I'm on a basis of I'll believe it when I see it when it comes to anything good on the corporate side of Sony. Like, I hate corporate Nintendo. Like, I've come to the realization that I just don't think I like the company of Nintendo, but I love the IP. I'm starting to get there with Sony, but I'm not fully there yet. So it's one of those, if they want to do something cool, I believe they have it in them. I'll just believe it when I see it type of thing.
I concur, Doctor.
Well, all right. Speaking of Nintendo, the Metroid Prime Trilogy Switch port, unlikely, says former Retro Studios dev, which is from an article from Nintendo Life by Kate Gray. So there are apparently 2 issues with the Metroid Prime Trilogy, according to this anonymous developer. Are they anonymous? I actually can't remember if they're anonymous. It doesn't matter. So it says Retro uses different software to make their games now than they did back when they were working on Metroid Prime. So they'd have to basically, they don't have the tools to go back and remake it. They'd have to recreate a lot of those tools, or they say brute force it, which I don't know what that means, but they'd probably have to recreate a lot of those tools. The second is that in Metroid Prime 3, there's a lot of motion-based movement for like opening up doors, and then maybe like motion is kind of used to tailor boss battles, like for a motion-based experience as opposed to using sticks. And they'd have to spend a considerable amount of development time, according to this developer, to fix that, essentially. And they were saying that they just don't think this is likely. One thing I do want to point out that I didn't have time to put in here because I saw this just before we started recording. There's a Twitter account called Leaky Panda, and they have a pretty good track record for being accurate on this kind of stuff. And they reiterated today, they retweeted something they tweeted out 2 years ago that said that in the next few years, we're going to see 2 Metroid games, a remake of Super Metroid in the vein of Samus Returns we got in the 3DS, and we would see Metroid Prime Trilogy. And they said again, we hold true to this, that we're going to hear about this stuff pretty soon. So we have some kind of conflicting stories here now. I'm
going to add one more story to this. When I read this, it was really surprising to me. One, that it came from a previous Retro Studios developer. So it's like, obviously they would have some kind of inside knowledge about this, but it seems to me that they're like, discussion's been had maybe, and it's like totally off the table. Like they haven't even started on it. In the article, they even mentioned like it would take a team of 4 to 5 people like an entire year to rework some of those sequences in Metroid Prime 3. But then I look back at when I was like, I remember someone saying it was done. And in 2018, when they announced the delay or the reboot of Metroid Prime 4, Imran Khan came out, who was from Game Informer, has a lot of inside industry knowledge. Imran Khan came out and said, yes, the trilogy on Switch is done. And they were going to release it. They were going to announce it at Game Awards, but because of the delay of Metroid Prime 4, we're going to likely see that gets delayed as well until we know more about Metroid Prime 4. So it's like, it's weird that 3 years ago, word on the street was, this game's done. And now 3 years later, someone who used to work at the studio is like, I don't know if we'll ever even start on that. It's like, what?
Yeah, and this developer's, like, what they're basically saying they're not saying it's impossible. They're just saying, oh, boy, that would be a lot of work, wouldn't it? And that's not really saying it's never going to happen. I mean, they have a lot of time. 4 to 5 people working for a whole year on something, I can't imagine that's that much money. Like,
I don't know how big Retro is, but in my mind, I was like, they've got to be more than like, I don't know, they've got to be maybe 3 digits or high 2 digits.
Sometimes on Wikipedia, they'll say how large a studio is. Let's see. But yeah, even that, like 4 to 5 people to release a game that's going to make a ton of money, and you're not making a whole new game from scratch. Like, I feel like that's not the reason to not make this game. And also, like, there was in the Kate Gray from Nintendo Life also mentioned that there was a similar concern about Final Fantasy VIII coming back on as like a HD touch up because they had literally just lost the source code for it. They not only like they just didn't have the code for the game at all. They still did it. It still came out again on Switch and other consoles, so it didn't stop them. And that's Square. They're cheap.
I think that was a similar situation for the Kingdom Hearts final mix, where they lost a lot of the source code. They had to redo a lot of that from scratch too.
I remember that.
Y'all need to back up your hard
It doesn't
drives.
say.
I'm in an all digital future.
It doesn't say. It doesn't say on Wikipedia at least how big their team is. They started in 1999 with 25 people. Oh, wait, here it goes. The company grew from production to a peak of 200. But that was a long time ago. That was like in the 2000s. And I can imagine they've probably grown since then.
I'm sure they can spare 4 to 5 people for a year.
Yeah. Hi, we're going to sell a shit ton of this game for not a lot of work. Can you dedicate 4 people to that? Yeah, I can't find a number in here at all. But I mean, if they had 200 people back on the development of a football game back in the early 2000s, I think that they probably have a lot more employees now and could spare that. So I don't believe the story. I think that I don't think the person's like lying or something like that. I'm sure their perspective's valid. I mean, they did used to work there, but I don't think they're right. I think we're going to see it.
How long ago did they work there, though?
Let's open up the article and see.
Let's find out who it is. Let's blast them. Everybody tweet at this developer and say, "You fucking suck." Just kidding. Don't do that. Don't put that negativity out there.
Fuck that guy.
Oh, it was Michael Wickhand, who's a former lead designer on all 3 Metroid Prime games. So he was there.
I'm still denying these cookies real quick. Let me get to the article. Okay, here we go.
When are they going to put Cookie Clicker on PlayStation? I want that platinum.
Doesn't mention when he stopped working there, but he was there during the Metroid Prime trilogy. So at the absolute latest, he was out after 2007. Or earliest, I should say. So, who knows?
We're going to see it. We're going to fucking see it. This guy doesn't know a dick from a doorknob.
I'd be shocked. It's one of those things where there's too much smoke for this thing not to exist. Like, the Imran Khan thing's a great call out. I think that is the best evidence we have this game exists. There's all the leaks of, like, Amazon Spain accidentally posted it on their site and that kind of stuff. There's just been too much stuff like that, so it's going to happen. What I am worried about, speaking of not happening, moving to our fetch quest.
Y'all.
Elden Ring release date report says it won't be out until April 2022.
Let's go.
And the earliest is Merdad Kayat at DualShockers. This is not a rumor. This is from the financial report of the Kodokawa Corporation, who's the parent company of From Software, which is, I mean, that's not a rumor. That's just legit information at that point. And I'm devastated. I want this game. So, I mean, take your time, but also I want it right now. It's just, oh god, I'm so excited for that game.
Who has it on Fantasy Critic?
My fantasy draft looking so good right now.
Hey, won't just 0 points. I won't lose any points, so it's fine. But it is honestly the fantasy league side. I just want to play it. I just can't wait to play that game. I feel like we'll still see it at E3 this year. If it's coming out April 2022, at like the early, I think we'll still see it at E3. But because they have to announce its release date relatively soon. Like, they announced Sekiro at E3 and then it came out the following spring. So like that time frame would make sense. But god, I want this game so bad.
Keep dreaming, Elden Ring fans. This game is never coming out.
Just
this
like
is
that
the new
Uncharted
Cyberpunk.
movie.
Oh my, the size. I actually go look this up too. The size. I'll just look on my phone. The hype behind this game, I had a moment where I'm like, oh man, it's actually way bigger than I realized. I was on Reddit and I was looking at the size of the community. there are 120,000 people in the Elden Ring subreddit for a game that hasn't released yet.
Yeah,
Let's put some perspective on it. Let's look up Resident Evil and see how the size of that entire series subreddit, not just one game. I can't type. Resident Evil is 215,000. So it's like not that much bigger for Resident Evil for a game that's been around for decades.
Haven't people like been creating Elden Ring? Like there are people who are making playable versions of Elden Ring because Elden Ring's not out yet.
Yeah, there's someone who's trying to make it. I actually went to their Discord to take a look around, and they're like grouping people together. They're dictating tasks to different people. It's really kind of cool to see. But they're also like making up fake bosses and stuff, like fan art and concept art and stuff. My favorite though is the clown meme of like the guy putting on clown makeup and there's like a step to it each one. Like that meme gets put up there all the time and people are saying E3's coming up, like should I get my clown makeup ready? Like
Holden, why aren't you
I'm excited for it, but
why aren't you contributing some code to that Elden Ring project?
Right?
Because I'm not that good.
Just a line of code, man. That's all you need.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
Oh yeah, I know.
I am not worthy.
What was it, Andrew?
I am not worthy.
Yeah, exactly. I am not worthy either.
Yeah, I don't think my game will ever come out. It's too much.
It's a lot of work. I just spent like all day writing a program to factor numbers, and I'm like, it's not even that much code. It took forever.
Dude, I hate coding so much.
Coding fucking sucks.
I like it. I literally, I was having so many problems, and the issue was literally just one line of code. I divided the wrong numbers. I did the wrong order by accident, which completely messed everything up. So obviously it doesn't work that way. It's not fun. Anyway, no one cares about that.
Yeah,
moving on to things that people do care about. Sony registers trademark for Xbox exclusive Sunset Overdrive, says Jordan Ullman on IGN. Are you guys Sunset Overdrive fans? Anyone here Sunset Overdrive fan?
Yeah, I like
Played a little
Sunset
bit of it.
Overdrive. Yeah. It was one of the first games I ever played on the Xbox One when that came out, and I liked it a lot.
Would you guys want a sequel to it? Maybe PS5 exclusive, but...
I don't want it to be exclusive. I think that's... As much as I love PlayStation, that's a big fuck you, and they're going to do it. That's what Sony wants. But
they own Insomniac. They own that shit now.
Yeah,
So
that's what
it's
I want Insomniac to focus on Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man. I mean, Sunset Overdrive was fun, but it was not a game that I wanted to finish at all, let alone a sequel at the expense of Spider-Man.
I think they could do a really cool sequel, especially after like doing so well with the locomotion and stuff from Miles Morales and Spider-Man. I think it could be cool. It just sucks I have a bunch of friends on Xbox that would want to play Sunset because they love the game. So it's frustrating, but taking that out, I want a new Sunset Overdrive. That'd be awesome. I remember me and Andrew used to talk about that game a lot. Like, I would love to play a new version of it.
Maybe they'll make it available wherever Game Pass is available and do it that way.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. You're going to say
Let's
something?
not kid ourselves here.
Oh, yeah, I was not being serious. Activision confirms Sledgehammer will develop Call of Duty 2021 with next-gen consoles in mind, says Rebecca Valentine at IGN.
Interesting they're using the future tense of, we will develop this game that's coming out in 5 months. With the next-gen consoles in mind.
We'll get started soon. Yeah.
I thought the rumor like a month or so ago was that Sledgehammer was doing this game.
Well, they are now. We know for sure.
Yeah, because they were supposed to do it last year, and then they took them off for Treyarch because I think Activision was like, your game sucks. And they threw off the whole cycle. So, because it was supposed to be COD World War II Vanguard. That was the leak.
Mm-hmm.
Well, whatever it is, they have 5 months to figure it out and make it, but they're going to.
Yeah, I don't... Following the COD cycle so much, it's like, I don't know how these games get made. Like, they're still like 3-year cycles, but it's like, I don't know how long Sledgehammer's been working on it, because they had to stop and work on Cold War with Treyarch last year. So, and I liked World War II a lot, but I don't know if this game can really hold up, because it just seems like it came out of nowhere. But hey, Cold War was pretty good, and that one was booted up a year.
I want to know what they mean by next gen in mind. Are they because it's going to be a cross gen game? Like, to what extent are they really keeping next gen as like the primary console they're making it for?
Is it going to be a crossplay game?
I would assume.
Because
I'm assuming
the PS3 and Xbox 360, they did one game, and that was Black Ops 3. The next one was Infinite Warfare, and that was exclusive only. Now, granted,
interesting. Okay.
Granted, those consoles were already on their way out. The 360 and PS3 versions, like, I think they didn't have the campaign. They only had multiplayer and zombies, so that's a big asterisk. The PS4 and Xbox One are still capable, but I would assume this next one would be exclusive if they're still going with the 1 year we'll keep it and then we'll move forward.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's interesting. I wonder, because that makes me think now too. I wonder if this will be the worst selling Call of Duty game at launch in a long time, just because of COVID and the chip shortages and the fact that there won't be nearly as many consoles
That's
sold
what makes
at
me
that
think
point.
that like they can't. Call of Duty is always like the best selling game of the year, and I don't think they would sacrifice that for next gen exclusive features. Like, they would release something on previous generations just to get the sales numbers.
But to Brent's point, though, they in the last generation they did do the one kind of cross-gen year, and then it was all next gen after that. And I think they started on the trajectory
it wasn't the supply constraints that we have right now. I imagine that.
But wait, let me finish here. Because if they started this trajectory of saying we're making a next gen exclusive game, they can't say within a year, oh, we're going to make a current gen version of this. That's way too much work to do in 1 year. Like, that train's been moving in that direction for a long time. So I don't think they could roll back like that if they wanted to.
That wasn't what Cyberpunk said they were doing, but it sounds like that's what Cyberpunk did. And they released a game. They were
but they announced that game back in 20...
and then they said, well, we'll try to dumb it down for current gen.
Yeah.
That's more of an error. That's more of an error in their judgment, as opposed to they decided within the last year to make a next gen version of it, or a current gen version of it.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to say like nobody has these consoles, but clearly people do, because like there's some news that came out recently, I think if I read it right, that like a huge chunk of Village's sales were on the PS5.
Well, I mean, they've announced there's 7.8 million PS5s that were sold as of the end of
games are always
April,
selling gangbusters on PS5, like recently. So I think that'd be enough for Activision to be like, okay, we'll push out our exclusive game. This will make people buy a PS5 or Series X this holiday.
I think a lot of that depends on the type of game too. Like, I don't think that'll happen with FIFA, for example. Like, FIFA will still probably sell better on the last generation hardware, because that's just kind of a game that not the most hardcore, most dedicated gamers will play. And kind of Call of Duty, I think, kind of fits into that as well, where it's such a huge fan base of people who will just buy a console just to play Call of Duty because that's what they like to play, and that's it.
Yeah.
Whereas Resident Evil, I kind of feel like is like a gamer's, game. Kind of is more in that kind of super dedicated. Gamers will be more interested in Resident Evil than they would be in a Call of Duty game.
Yeah, I think so many people underestimate like people who like their series, like mostly COD bros, and like people who love COD or 2K, and the new game comes out and it's exclusive. They're like, all right, they'll come to me like, hey, where do I get this console? Like, what should I get? Like, I've met so many people that buy a new console just because the new COD's on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they never play anything else.
It'll be interesting to see how this plays out at the end of the year, for sure. Or we actually will probably find out if it's cross-gen or not in less than a month now.
Yeah.
Because of E3. So we'll find out soon enough. Speaking of those console shortages, though, report PS5 redesigned to begin production in 2022, which is not likely to be a PS5 Slim or PS5 Pro, says Chandler Wood at PlayStation Lifestyle. This is not an aesthetic change to the console. It's basically just going to be a new chip inside of it, where they're going to use a 6nm chip as opposed to the current 5nm chip. And that's just a direct response to the chip shortages and the cost to make a 5nm chip right now as a result of what's happening.
It's going to be another thing, like, you have to say which one you have. Like, oh, I have the red box Switch. Like, oh, you have a PS5? Which one do you got? Oh, I only got the 5nm PS5. Oh, I don't want it. Take it.
It's like the PSP versions and stuff all over again.
Exactly. Buying a Vita, having to like have all these listings be the slim. I don't want the slim. It's ugly. I want the OLED.
Yeah, that sexy ass OLED. Yeah.
Don't rub it in my face. Please don't.
Metro Exodus PS5 version is out in June with a free upgrade for PS4 owners. Sarmena Khan from PlayStation Live says, "You still have to play that game, Chad. Why are you booing?"
Because I have to play it on Xbox now, and I don't think it's on Game Pass anymore, but that's where my save file is.
Oh, no. The PS5 version will feature faster loading times, ray tracing, 4K texture packs, and haptic feedback on PlayStation 5. Sounds dope. Can't wait for that. I will play that game again. Absolutely, 100%.
I'll play it.
I have never played a Metro game before, but I've always wanted to.
Don't do it.
Chad is very sour on it.
They're good.
They're the definition of single A.
Bro, you like the Last
I'm
of
hearing
Us.
some conflicting opinions here.
It's a solid AA game. Don't go into it expecting a AAA Call of Duty shooter. There's some weird, like, animation quirks. Children look like just small adults. Like, there's some, like, weird things to it.
Those sound like things I would be excited for.
I think you would love them. I loved the first game. The first game was great. I didn't play the other two, but the first game was awesome.
Yeah, I played all of them. I think they're all fantastic. They're very atmospheric, very claustrophobic shooters. It kind of goes into... There's almost like some survival horror elements to it, like resource management's really important, and like scavenging everything to make sure you get as much currency as possible to keep buying ammo. Otherwise, I've been in situations where I was totally fucked and just didn't have any way to get through a situation because, well, outside of like punching people, I couldn't use my guns because I didn't have the ammo. Like, you really have to scavenge to get through it. It's I think a pretty engaging experience, and Exodus is fantastic. It's easily the best one.
All right, cool.
It's good
I'll
stuff.
have
I
to check
recommend
that
it.
out at some point. Then, some point in time.
The first two games are usually on sale. Like, whenever there's a sale, they're always there. I bought both of them together in a pack for $4.
Yeah.
So
Well,
keep an eye out on sales.
okay.
Yeah. Keep an eye out on sales. You'll find it for sure. In our last story of the week, Animal Crossing New Horizons 2.0 update.
Animal Crossing sucks.
Get this man out of here.
Island expansion
I bet
leaks,
he
says
time
Kyle Knight at
travels.
Dual Shockers. So dual miners have come across code which suggests that the kind of south shoreline of your island will extend further down. So you'll maybe be able to extend your island.
Let's go.
I hope so.
What does that mean? Does that mean that like you just now have a bunch of empty land there if you've planned out your village perfectly? Does the airport move? Do you just now have a chin on your island? What's going on?
Yeah, I don't know how it's going to play out. I think that is likely what is going to happen is that either if they treat it like your house, you'll buy plots of land to develop little bits at a time. I'd imagine it would probably work that way because I think it'd be a little, like you kind of were saying, it'd be a little strange to suddenly have twice as much island and have your island be twice as big and just to have like it be flat. But I can see them saying, hey, if you want to unlock 15 blocks further down, then that's going to cost you 500,000 bells or 1,000,000 bells or something crazy like that. And Tom Nook will let you do it for free the first time or something like that. Or he'll say, like, we'll do it and then you owe me 1,000,000 bells and you can only expand further once you've paid back that loan.
Gotta rack up
they'll
that debt.
gamify it. Yeah, all about that debt. I'm really hoping this is the case, and I feel like they would do this only if they were adding new things to put in your town, like new shops. That is what I've been waiting for, because I've stopped playing this game. I played it to death. I want more, and this could be it, maybe. So, we'll see. We'll see.
Hopefully.
But, Chad, did you know that we're really, really fucking humble?
Dude, I'm the most fucking humble person on this call. You don't even know.
Sure sounded.
Brent has a topic. I don't know if you have a topic as well. Totally fine. Brent is going to introduce a topic for us to discuss. Brent, you are now the host.
Let's go. All right, welcome to the Free to Play podcast, boys.
We did it. We got all their viewers.
Let's go. I don't know how long I'll go because it's way past my bedtime. I'm so tired. But yeah, so my topic is I want to discuss the kind of controversy, if you will, or the discourse around Returnal and how that I think turns less into how this is less of like criticisms of the game and just how it ties into genres as a whole. Like, how much can you criticize a game based off of the genre it's in? Because I feel like a lot of criticisms I've seen of Returnal are just how roguelikes are. And the big one out of the way, saves. There are roguelikes that let you save. Like, I haven't played every single roguelike that ever exists, but there are a lot that do and a lot that don't. It's kind of sporadic. Like I said earlier, one of my favorite ones, Risk of Rain 2. That doesn't let you save, but it's also not like a story game. Like, you don't technically beat that game. Like, they added an end now where you randomly sometimes you get a portal and it takes you to the final boss. But it's not you just play it, and if you're bored, you give up, you know? So I can because this is a roguelite. So this has like story elements and you're getting to the thing, which I think that's kind of what SteamWorld Dig did a little bit, if I remember correctly. But yeah, so I want to hear what you guys think about it, but I think it's just weird. Not that these criticisms aren't valid, but I think it would be one of those things where maybe roguelikes aren't for you, and that's okay. I'm not here to say get good. I'm not here to say that your opinion is wrong. I'm just saying this is a roguelike, and it's perfectly valid if you don't like roguelike games. I think this conversation is very interesting to see how much you can criticize a game and how much just boils down to this is what the game is.
Yeah, I think
That's
there's a lot of
exactly how I feel
criticism
about-
out there where people are saying this game is too hard. Returnal is too hard, and you keep dying. And it's like, no, that's the game. Like roguelikes are like you're playing a game and you get to a certain point and then you die and then you start it over. And it's like that's how it should have been. The part that we talked last week actually at length that all three of us who were on the show last week don't like roguelike games. But part of what I enjoy about this game is the feeling that you have as you're kind of trouncing through all of these different areas and completely destroying things and feeling really powerful. But the length of it is really what gets me. And I feel like roguelike games it's supposed to be really quick. Like, you make it as far as you can. A run lasts 5 minutes, 10 minutes if you're lucky. You die, you restart, you do something completely different, or you have a different strategy going in. But when it takes like several hours to get through something that is randomized and completely based on luck, sometimes that's where I find that it's a little unfair to have so many hours to go into a run without being able to say, hey, I would like to put this down and do something else for a little bit and then come back to it.
It's like the more you invest, the worse it feels when it all falls apart or when it gets taken away from you.
Right. So that's why, but I do agree with your point that it's like that's kind of the game. Like, it's someone saying, oh man, The Witness is a terrible game because the puzzles get hard. And it's like, well, it's a game all about fucking puzzles. You shouldn't have played that game.
Yeah, and Returnal definitely is a roguelite, so there are things where you're not, once you get past a threshold, you're not exactly doing every single thing. Like, you end up getting a melee weapon early on, and that makes going forward pretty easier. You fight a boss, you never have to touch that boss again. You can go through the portal very easily once you find it. And again, agreed, from what I'm hearing, this game is way too long and I will never beat it. But I definitely think that is part of the game, and I guess I will criticize it a little bit in terms of how they handle the genre, but I'm not going to criticize it for it being that genre.
Yeah, this is where this is like the whole like Souls easy mode conversation comes to play for me too, where it's like the whole point of a Souls-like game is the accomplishment of overcoming defeat that From Software presented with you, or whatever developer is making a Souls-like game. Like, that is the entire purpose of that game. There are tons of games that don't feature difficulty modes. So to say a game that is literally known for its difficulty and sense of accomplishment needs to change that, it's like, I don't think you understand what this is. It's like when I talk about how, like, for example, with me, like, I don't like JRPGs that much. Like, there are exceptions, I'll play some, but I wouldn't say it's like a favorite genre of mine, because they all seem to do this thing where you do this huge epic thing, and then the next mission you're saving cats that are like around in a town. And like, that just to me means like, hey, JRPGs just kind of aren't like something that speaks to me fully. I'm not going to say all, character driven moments in JRPGs need to go away because I want epic shit. Like, no, like, that's what a JRPG is, and it's okay if I don't like it that much. And this applies like every medium. Like, gosh, like, I would have loved to have read Watchmen, but like, I don't read graphic novels. Like, okay, then graphic novels aren't for you. And like, that's why it's like, oh, there are too many pictures. I didn't like that there were so many pictures.
Like, I don't know if anyone's ever complained about a book having too many pictures. It's definitely been too many words and not enough pictures, but
yeah, but like, to kind of take to the extreme and kind of like, that's what a graphic novel is. You don't like graphic novels, and that's fine. There's the movie Watchmen if you want to do that instead.
That's 24
although
pictures
I don't know,
a second.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, that's 24 pictures a second. That's way too many pictures. Jeez. I can't process that many pictures per second. I don't know how anyone does it. But yeah, I totally agree with you, Brent. It's like there are different genres for different reasons. I've said very often with the Dark Souls conversation, games are for everyone, but that doesn't mean every game is for everyone.
Yeah, and that's such a difficult thing to tell somebody, because like, you come off as the most asshole-ish like person, and for good reason, because some people are assholes. But like, saying like maybe this game isn't for you it always comes off as an insult, but it is. There are games I'm never gonna play. Like, I have a poo-poo brain. I can't play. I'm not gonna go play XCOM.
I have a poo-poo brain. Oh my god! Sorry, that's amazing. I have a
comedy bar is set very high.
I have a poo-poo brain. I'm not gonna go play XCOM. Like, I don't know where my aliens are going. Like. And I also like, I suck
Sorry,
at.
go ahead.
Oh, I was ending this. I suck at Souls games. I try them, but I never beat them. But that's not a slight on Souls games. They give you a challenge, a perfectly crafted challenge. It's not just, oh, we made this enemy for normal mode and then we just made them hit harder in hard mode. Like, these enemies are hard because of what they're doing, not how hard they hit.
Yeah, I totally hear what you're saying, because like, I say that whole like games are for everyone, but not every game's for everyone. And yeah, I can totally see how that comes across as like a dick thing to say, but like, it's also true of every medium, for every type of art. Like, it's really just more of an objective truth. Like, my grandma loves PBS Masterpiece Theater. That's like primarily what she watches. I can't imagine saying like, hey grandma, by the way, you should watch Transformers. Like, no, it's just Transformers isn't for my grandma.
On the Transformers movie.
She would love Revenge of the Fallen, but like, she's just not as much on board with Last Night.
Such a dude. Revenge of the Fallen was so good.
Or like books, like some people really like narrative-driven stories. I like reading nonfiction books, but I would never go to a narrative book and be like, they need more charts and graphs to explain this story better to me.
There's not enough Bill Gates. Give me the Bill Gates biography.
Or like reading nonfiction, like, oh, let's read this book about analyzing, the changing politics over the course of the, last century or something like that. It's like, I didn't like the characters. It's just like, there's different types of art for different people, and that's fine. That's just how it is.
Yeah, it's such a nuanced conversation. It's very weird, and I'm trying to not argue on Twitter anymore, so I can't talk about this, but But it's just funny.
You
seeing
brought
all
it up.
this
It's your
Discord.
subject.
Oh, I'm gonna talk about
Finish
it.
what
I'm
you
just
started.
I'm just not gonna twiddle my thumbs about it anymore. And I just had to stop, man. I was like, I don't feel like I'm doing anything that's not in my character, but I'm just tired of arguing about console wars. I'll go to like try to tell someone they're being stupid because they made a really asshole-ish thing, and I'll be typing. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And someone else will tell them. I don't know.
Yeah,
I just don't have the
engage.
energy for your stupid.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't know. It's tough for me because like I like disagreements because disagreements are an opportunity to learn something new. But at the same time, like on Twitter especially, it can be so toxic that there's no opportunity to learn because it just gets too toxic like too fast. Like I was talking, Colin tweeted something about Game Pass. I chimed in with my thoughts on Game Pass, and someone like definitively proved me wrong because I thought for some reason that Game Pass was profitable, and it's not profitable. And like I learned that by engaging in that conversation. But you just like coming across those productive conversations on Twitter is so rare. It just
Yeah.
doesn't happen.
I like talking to people and just kind of like trying to discuss things, but then I had to remember like everyone sees my tweets. All my friends are like, "Why is he doing this?" Like, I'm gonna mute this guy. I can't. Andrew, did
Whoa.
you have anything to say about the topic? I feel bad you've been so silent, my little baby boy.
My grandson?
Wait, is Andrew our grandson, Chad?
Yes, actually,
it's
in
canon
the lore.
now.
Brent, you got busy early.
Andrew grows fast. It hasn't been that long, actually.
I'm only 2 years old. I've just hit massive growth spurts.
He's a fun guy.
No, I don't got much to add to the whole conversation. I think I kind of like feel that kind of point of like this is a bit difficult for me to really talk about as someone who has not experienced games like Returnal specifically, where it's like major investments as you're going through these different levels, or I guess biomes as they're called, where like you sink so much time in and it just sucks so bad when you do die and lose everything. And I feel like that's where part of the balance of roguelike games like come in terms of like, you know, the length of time of your sessions, like how long each session lasts and stuff. Because I'm not super big into rogue games. I've played a few of them before, like Rogue Legacy, for instance, and The Binding of Isaac. Both of these games, which I really enjoyed because they're pretty simple in terms of how they play with their rogue elements. You know, you have in the case of Isaac in particular, you have a series of shorter levels with a set number of rooms that you go through and explore, and then you beat the boss, and then you moved on down to the next floor, etc., etc. And then when you die, I guess it could suck, like, for, like, because I'm talking about, like, the original one and not, like, Rebirth or whatever, which probably has a lot more levels, a lot more expanded levels, a lot more opportunities for you to fucking lose. But when it comes to regular old Isaac, I never feel super bad about dying or anything, because I'm not losing too much progress, and it won't take me long to get back there. I guess is the main point to make. Like, it won't, even if I do lose a lot of stuff, and that sucks, it doesn't take me very long at all to get back to that point. So, I think I hear this talk about Returnal and how much time you have to sink in to go through the biomes and stuff, and like how much time you have to spend going back when you do eventually lose, and that kind of scares me, if I'm going to be honest.
It should.
Good.
It's like something like that is probably going to be a bit of a turn off for me. I wouldn't say that I'm not into roguelikes or that I am into roguelikes, but something like that just isn't for me, and that's fine. That isn't made for me. I don't like the idea of having to like just spend a lot of time and having to rebuild. Basically, I guess is the point that I'm trying to make here.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. It's one of those, like, I also can't believe I went through the whole conversation of roguelikes and didn't even, like, touch on Binding of Isaac. Like, the biggest one.
The classic.
Yeah, I think, to wrap up, like, I think this is becoming a thing, and not to sound asshole-ish, this is becoming a thing because it's more people playing it. It's a big, exclusive thing. That's why people are, like, getting used to it. I think there are a lot of people going into Returnal because it's a Sony exclusive and they're off of the goodwill of like Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us. Like they're usually this type of game, and then there's Returnal that's not that type of game. And I don't blame people for thinking that because I didn't know it was a roguelike until maybe a week before it came out.
See, if you love Ratchet & Clank, you're going to love Returnal.
So I feel bad for people being like, PlayStation exclusive Returnal? What is that? I'll pick it up. Oh, God. I just died like 4 times.
Well, thank you, Brent, for bringing that topic to the table.
Thank you for being
Chad.
humble.
It's Game On Game Show. The Game On Our Game Show. We play a game called Game On Our Game Show. On our game show. Game. Everyone, there's a very, very, very important gaming anniversary today. Do you know what it is? It is the 25th anniversary of the Sega Saturn release of Panzer Dragoon 2 Zwei.
Let's go!
Yep. I don't know if you know this or not. Zwei is German for 2. So this is Panzer Dragoon 2.
Funny name.
And because this is the anniversary of that, and it is the second one of those, I feel like it's time for us to do a second gaming anniversary edition of Now Flesh It Out. And this is a game where we take a couple of pairs of games, mash them together, and figure out what might the resulting game look like. So, the first game, I have 3 pairs. The first game of each pair is a game who also has an anniversary today. The second game is one of Brent's many favorite games. So we're going to start with the first game is Minecraft, which has its 12-year anniversary today on PC and also web browsers today. And then the game we're mashing up Minecraft with is Assassin's Creed. What does that look like if we mash those games together? Brent literally just fell out of his chair.
All right, let's let Brent gush for about 40 minutes before we give our input here.
What do you think that looks like? I imagine there's a lot of like breaking shit open trying to find those fucking feathers from Assassin's Creed 2.
Well,
and then you find out they're useless.
I think it would just be the Assassin's Creed maps I made in Minecraft when I was a kid.
You've already made the game.
Turns out I've already made it. It releases like 2 weeks from now.
No, it would be the Assassin's Creed 4 Roblox map I used to always play in the library.
Damn. Okay, I thought I was being really original with this.
Please.
No, I actually don't know. I'm not creative.
I have a pretty dope idea, I think.
Okay, go.
Now, hear me out here.
Better, so go ahead.
How familiar are you guys with Wallace and Gromit? This will go somewhere, I promise.
Very not familiar.
I've ever watched one of the movies with my dad, and that was the one with like the were-rabbit thing. I can't remember much.
I watched that one in theaters.
I know what they look like, and I know that I don't like them.
This is so specific, but this image popped in my head, so I have to share it. Wait, Brent, I didn't hear what you said. Have you seen Wrong Trousers, Brent?
No, I think I saw Curse of the Were-Rabbit in theaters.
Oh, okay. All right. You guys didn't watch Wallace and Gromit. They're classics. They're all great. Okay, so in The Wrong Trousers, there is a train chase, but it's a toy train, and Gromit, the dog, is trying to steer the train in a certain direction by constantly throwing tracks on the ground so the train can keep going. It's comical. It's comical. But that image popped in my head. I don't know why that did when you asked the question, but it ties in because what if you were parkouring like that and drawing the things on top of the world as you're running around and throwing it in front of you? That would be really fucking cool.
It's like Drawn to Life, Assassin's Creed.
Oh shit!
Scribble Knots
That's a
Assassin's
series of games to
Creed.
mash.
Holden, you nailed it. Pair number 2, Uncharted 4: A Thief's End celebrates 5 years today from its PS4 release. Crossed with Terraria.
Oh shit, this is kind of relevant to us.
Tell me about it. What does that game look
Dude,
like?
dude, okay. So Terraria has like so many different bosses and like items and stuff. So Uncharted 4, Nathan Drake, a treasure hunter, naturally. So you're going through, he gets stuck in this 2D world. He's like, bro, I got a grappling hook, because you use a grappling hook in Terraria. And you got the grappling hook and you're looking for all these like lost treasures and stuff, and then the bosses appear, Nathan Drake, and Sully's got a cigar and he's like, let's fight this Eye Cthulhu, Drake.
Spot on Sully impression.
Andrew, what's your idea?
I like this idea of a rogue treasure hunting game where it generates a new like tomb for you to go into.
Dude, that'd be so cool. That's kind of SteamWorld Dig, but not.
And I also hope it would
Spelunky?
randomly
Spelunky?
generate the dialogue.
Yeah.
I haven't played Spelunky before. If they randomly generate the dialogue using AI to literally write the lines of dialogue that Sonny and Drake are saying, so they're nonsensical and don't make any sense at all, would also be awesome. I'm thinking on the lines of the Harry Potter book that was written by a machine learning algorithm. It just doesn't make any sense. I can't remember the name of
I
it.
still have yet to look through that, but I eagerly anticipate the time when I eventually do, because it sounds amazing.
I think there was
It's
one that was like
hilarious.
John Cena speeches or something like that.
John Cena speeches are Shakespeare in comparison.
All right, third pair. I like your idea, Brent, about the 2D
Thanks.
Nathan Drake grappling hook. Love it. Third game, final one for Now Flesh It Out, Panzer Dragoon 2 Zwei Edition. Ken Griffey Jr.'s Slugfest celebrates 22-year anniversary from N64. If you're
I
unfamiliar,
don't even know what that is.
Yeah, neither do I. I have
Jr.
no
is a
idea.
baseballman, and it's a baseball game.
I thought it was a bullet hell game.
Cross that with Doom Eternal.
Yeah, bullet hell
Dude.
game.
Oh.
You're coming for my heart. Dude, imagine Doomslayer with his I know what it's called. The Crucible Blade. And he's like just baseballing with that. And you have to hit the weak points of the demons. Dude.
I want you to have to rip somebody to shreds. Like, as you run the bases, you're just like decapitating people and pulling out their hearts.
I love that.
But
Here's
you're
the
just Ken
lamest
Griffey.
version
You're just
of-
Ken Griffey Jr. the whole time.
Here's the lamest version of this possible. It's just a baseball game, but like there's a certain demon just throwing he's the pitcher and he's just throwing the ball. He doesn't do anything demon like. Doomslayer just, he hits the ball and runs around the bases. It's totally just like a baseball game where the character models are all demons from Doom. Like, it's
I was
super
just
boring.
going to
It doesn't
say.
make any sense.
Like, I would love it if there was just a series of like golf games and shit where it's just the Doomslayer going on these casual vacations playing these fucking nice, relaxing games.
Nintendo didn't make Doom.
Here's what it is.
Well,
It's-
Nintendo
it's
didn't
that.
make golf either.
You're Ken Griffey. You're a whole team of Ken Griffey Juniors.
Why?
And you're playing against a team of demons. It's like Space Jam. You're playing against a team of demons. If you win the game, you get to spend, instead of like walking line by line, high five, good game, you actually get to rip everyone to pieces. And if you lose the game, they get to fucking devour your corpses.
That's
What
a
did-
good idea.
What did you get
That's
that
pretty
from
good. It's
Nintendo?
like a really good victory and a loss for whatever team you decide to go to.
Yes. That's it for Game On Game Show. That is it for our podcast, episode 210 of Respawn Aim Fire. Thank you, Brent and Andrew from Free to Play Podcast, for joining us today. It was wonderful to have you on the show. Brent, obviously returning. Andrew, having you here for the first time. It was wonderful to meet you. I would love for you to give people a shout out of where they can find you if they are interested in seeing more of your content. Brent, let's start with you.
Yeah, as you can see, one half of the Free to Play podcast. I'm also 1/3 of the Uncultured Opinions podcast. We are on a huge hiatus. I stream Porkchop 118 YT. I've been streaming Terraria a lot recently. I make YouTube videos at Porkchop 118 and Twitter at Porkchop 1864. I don't argue with kids on Twitter anymore.
Anymore.
Proud of you. Andrew, where can people find you?
I can be found in and around, the same usual places. YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and all that. Same handles for everything. Andrew Hullabaloo. Whether or not there's an underscore separating the two, I don't know. I don't know which ones do and don't. So you might have to seek that out for yourself there. I don't make anything content-wise yet. I've had several plans to. I'm working on some stuff right now, but whether or not it'll ever see the light of day, I don't know. I am somewhat active on Twitter, though. I'll say something like once every 2 weeks or something, I'll usually like and retweet stuff that I'm a part of, so if you want to know what I'm up to next, then that's a pretty good place to look, because I'll probably say something, just like I did for this here.
Please follow Andrew. He's my baby boy, and I get really happy when he succeeds. It's like I'm living my life through him. I like him.
A father's pride.
I get so much pride when he's on podcasts and seeing him get happy. It's like I just feel a sense of warmth in my heart.
Yeah,
It's because you're a good father, Brent.
yeah.
Exactly. You guys don't get that. You guys don't understand.
I'm a better father than you ever were.
You can find both of those, all of those links in the description of wherever you're watching this, and you can also find them on affableidiots.com. You can scroll down and see all the links there too. On that website, you can also go and sign up to be just like them and be on the show from our Year of the Guest survey. So please do that if you are interested in being on this show or AAWI and also with you. It's going to be a hella good time. You also have homework if you're listening to this. Red Dead Redemption 2 is fast approaching at the end of June for its deadline for our backlog accomplishment with the Respawn and Friends game, or BARF. So fucking buy it and play it, I guess, or something. Also, go to patreon.com/respawn-aim-fire if you would love to play with us on game nights on Thursdays. If you want to influence what we play for our BARF games in future months, and do it there. Go get some dope wallpapers just in time for Mass Effect release with some Mass Effect 3 wallpapers there. Do it. Or die. Well, everyone's going to die. That was not a threat from me. That was just a fact of life. That's it. That's all we have for the show. Holden, you're beautiful. Until next time,
Chad.
Here's our usual sign-off. Do you guys remember the show The Dinosaurs? Not the mama, not the mama.